Will this be the year, Jonathan, for not that regulation, but on a more serious note for big tech?
Yeah, Kevin's wardrobe aside, I think the reality is that you do have, as you said it before the break, Republicans and Democrats, conservatives and liberals, are looking at some of the excesses of social media and thinking about how do they protect consumers. And I do think, again, there is a high likelihood we will see some regulation in the year ahead. I mean, President Trump and President Biden both agree on this, that the companies simply have too much power. And whether it's Congress taking action or the FTC taking action, I think Americans want to see the companies employ some simple principles like decency, accountability, transparency. And the reality is, I came from Silicon Valley. I worked in business for many, many years. I believe in self-regulation. But Joe, as we've talked about on your show before, it simply isn't working here. The companies continue to to advance the most inflammatory content. They're immune from any liability because of a loophole in the law. They cut off researchers who try to look basically at what's happening underneath the hood to understand how their algorithms work. And frankly, they just don't exercise the same kind of responsibility that other companies across the economy do. So I do think it's time, and there's some legislation we can talk about if you like that I think is on deck that might actually make a dent in solving this problem once and for all.
Kevin, you think about, I thought about a lot of things. Wild, Wild West. When there wasn't a sheriff around, man, there's some stuff that happens. I'm thinking about what's going on in some of the cities now. If you don't enforce broken windows, I mean, and there's not going to be any consequences for things. I mean, human nature takes us to some bad places. Why is tech any different for you? Why is it just let it go, let it rip? No guardrails. Shouldn't there be some guardrails?
There are guardrails. It's called the market. The market determines winners and losers all the time. And I understand that these hearings are great political theater, and they have gone on for a very long time. And yet there's been no policy changes whatsoever. And why is that? I'll tell you why. Consumers don't care. It's a great topic to talk about, but the majority of consumers use social media responsibly. For those that believe it is harming children, maybe some parenting would be a good idea, because in this country, the big parent doesn't decide how many hours of social media we get. We do. We as a people do. Now, when these ideas are bad ideas and platforms don't work, they get eliminated by the market. The best regulator in the world is the market. There's so many technology platforms that have disappeared because they haven't really stood up against the market and time. And so there wasn't any TikTok just a few years ago, and now it's a huge behemoth. It's changed the behavior of Instagram because they want to compete. Consumers like TikTok. The algorithms there work the majority of the time. You can't police it all. And in our society, yes, we have freedom of speech, and we also have a lunatic fringe. And the cost of freedom is the lunatic fringe, and it's been around forever and always will be. Now, we're going to have more political theater because these politicians, and I don't want to be a skeptic here, but I've been watching this for years, they have to raise money. The best soundbite you can get is bashing a social media company on behalf of children. Does anything happen? No. And it won't happen next year or the year after that, because we as a society and as a country, as an economy, want to be the leaders in technology worldwide. And that means freedom. Freedom to develop, freedom to serve, freedom to provide products. That's how. If you don't like it here, I don't see many American families flying to Beijing so that the big leader there can tell you how many hours of video you can watch or what social media you can actually participate in. We like freedom in this country. We always have, and we always will.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.